Dear friends, good morning on Friday the 30th of April and welcome to Friday Focus. There's not very much church news to report today, except to say that at the 10 o'clock service on Sunday we are having communion as we did on Easter Sunday, and there will also be communion at the Minster at 11 o'clock. After the 10 o'clock, depending on the weather, coffee and tea are going to be available from the north door of St Matthew's Church. Collect your drinks as you leave and take them across to the churchyard where we can gather in groups of 6. Please bring your own cups, although disposable cups will be available. Thought it would be good to mark what would have been on Tuesday of this week, the 100th birthday of John Stott, the curate, rector and then rector emeritus of All Souls Langham Place from 1945 to 2011. He was a theologian, author and much loved leader of the worldwide evangelical movement. Uncle John, as he was affectionately known, died 10 years ago, but he is still widely read and his influence lives on in the Christian world. I don't have space in any way to do justice to a man who in 2005 was ranked by Time magazine as one of the 100 most influential people in the world. Instead, I want to mention just one aspect of his life that was mentioned by Professor John Wyatt in an interview which he gave to Glenn Scrivener on the Speak Life YouTube channel on Tuesday. You can listen to the full interview if you go to the Speak Life channel. John Wyatt was a close personal friend of Uncle John, and he has been a member of All Souls since he was a medical student there in the 1970s. In this interview, John Wyatt explained how Uncle John had come to faith as a teenager through the Ewan Minster camps for public school boys in the 1930s. Given his upper-class background and public school and Cambridge education, it would have been all too easy for him to have stayed within that circle and just to have served the elite of society. But from the age of 24, he deliberately turned his back on his background and he decided to model himself on Christ's humility. He went out of his way to seek and to serve the marginalised. John Wyatt listed a number of social action projects that Uncle John started at All Souls. Many are still going to this day, including the All Souls Clubhouse. One Christmas Day, when he was a curate, he didn't return to his parents for Christmas dinner. Instead, he helped to deliver 70 food parcels to post-war London families. He once slept rough with the homeless for several nights, just to gain an insight of what it was like to live on the streets of London, only telling his congregation what he'd done afterwards. And many have referred to his simple lifestyle, living for 40 years in a small flat where his bedroom doubled as a corridor, housed a desk for his study assistant, a desk which had been rescued from a skip. He favoured simplicity, and he would give away anything that he hadn't used in the previous year. Is this a word for us as we seek to serve and witness to Christ in our increasingly secular world, which is intolerant of listening to us talk about Christ? How would it be if we were known for considering others better than ourselves, and for focusing on the marginalised and the poor rather than the elite? It's also striking that, as John Wyatt pointed out, Uncle John was preaching care for creation as a core Christian response decades before it became popular in society and amongst the more liberal and Catholic wings of the church. But all of these aspects of his life, his humility, simple lifestyle, compassion for the poor, and care for creation, flowed from Uncle John's commitment to Jesus Christ, in whom he had placed his trust as a teenager. He was once asked to define what he thought was the irreducible minimum of the gospel, but he declined. Rather, he said he wanted to be faithful to the whole biblical gospel in all its glorious riches and life-transforming power, which brings all of the life of heaven and which brings all of life in heaven and on earth under the lordship of Christ. Rather wonderfully, this is the theme of our new series in Deuteronomy, which we're beginning this Sunday. I hope Uncle John would approve. God bless.